famous, Dan.
Hi, Mom.
We're back for our next instalment, if anyone's watching this, of Food for 15, just as Christchurch Orchard Park. We're just trying to throw some ideas around on some of life's biggest questions and look at things from a God perspective, a Christian perspective. A lot of people don't think about those things at the moment, do we? So we're just trying to put it out there and give people some food for thought. I have got Dan with me, and people will have to forgive me for having Dan with me because we don't normally allow Liverpool fans or St Helens fans. But you're a member of my church, so I kind of have to be nice to you.
You have to love me, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But I was going to ask, actually, are you more on the St Helens side? Are you happy with the way things are going for the new season, or have you even kept up to date with that stuff?
I haven't really kept up to date with it. I'm probably still on a high from the great grand final finish. Yeah. That wonderful drop goal attempt, which went wrong, but then suddenly went so right. It was a bit gutting, really. That here's the grand final, Saints Wigan in Hull, and I can only watch it from a living room. So that was hard, but the finish definitely made up for it. What a game it was!
Yeah, I remember it'll go down in the history books. We've got Josh Reynolds for FC, so I think he's hopefully we're going to rip it to pieces next. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we're not meant to talk about Liverpool or rugby. We're here to chat about our next instalment. Last week we were looking at the issue of social media, part 1, and I think there was so much to talk about. I wanted to come back again, and we'll probably come back again at some point. Last week we talked about, is social media tearing us apart or is it bringing us together? And this week, I thought I'd ask you the question, Dan. Is social media simply too dangerous to use anymore?
Yeah.
Because you go online, there's so many dangers. I was looking at, on the NSPCC website, it said something like 200,000 11 to 17-year-olds have been the victim of some kind of grooming attempt. And like cyberbullying, like 43% is probably a low estimate of kids who are kind of being. I mean, what do you think? Do you think, like, is it too dangerous now, social media?
Yeah, it's definitely dangerous. I mean, I know you didn't plan it this way, but today is actually Safer Internet Day.
Oh, really?
So in schools across the country and around the world, people are celebrating Safer Internet Day. And so for me, I've been talking to children just about that, and the theme of it was all about trust. Who can you trust? Now, we watched a 2-minute video, and it was just a clip, and it was made by the people who presented this lesson, but it showed so many ways it comes across. Hey, I've got my friends with me, and someone's given me this box, and it's got all these wonderful things in. Actually, there's 6 different types of adverts in that 2-minute video where people are trying to promote themselves or are trying to sell something. And although it looks quite happy that I'm just hanging with my friends and, oh, we've got this present, there's actually so much else going on behind the scenes. You've just talked about the cases of grooming and the cyberbullying as well. One of the things which I'm most concerned about when it comes to cyberbullying, bullying's never a good thing. Bullying's never okay. When we were at school, if you went to school, the bullying happened, and then you'd come home, and hopefully it could be left away then. There was no more to it.
We had a skip at school that we used to get put in the skip.
Okay.
I avoided it, but a lot of my mates got it when they were year 7s.
Yeah.
Just get skipped. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's fine. If you want to skip around, that's fine. But with cyberbullying, if you've got a phone or you've got a social media device, it's 24/7. You can't just, people can always make contact with you if you've got your phone number or they've got a Facebook, they know you're on Facebook or anything like that. You just can't get away from it.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a real danger, isn't it? Something else that I've been looking at is around all of these social media accounts that they're all very, very clever in the way that they're made to work with the instructions, or what we call algorithms. And the way those algorithms work is they'll look at the things that you're looking at. So we've been talking about Saints and Liverpool. Next time I go on social media, if I've been searching for that on the internet, my page will be filled with Saints and Liverpool things. Hopefully it won't be for you, because I know you wouldn't appreciate that as much as me. So it's this idea, we see it all the time with cookies, about how it's trying to tailor adverts to the way we would want things. I'd be quite happy without the adverts, but I don't really get a say about it.
Well, it's basically how they make their money, isn't it? So they have to do the adverts to do that. That's helpful to think like that. And obviously, I probably don't realize how much, because obviously you're working with young people and stuff, and so you're doing all of this training, and obviously it's like the big thing, isn't it? Really, one of the big things at the moment in terms of keeping kids safe. But the thing that strikes me about all of that, cyberbullying, grooming, all of these things, they all existed before social media. And to be honest, even if we scrapped social media now, they would still exist, sadly. And it is horrible. And this stuff, there's you read some horrible stories, don't you, in terms of what's going on. So I think you're absolutely right to point out those things. The thing I'm thinking is, are there specific things as well as those things that are really specific to social media that you would class as dangers, and maybe not just dangers for young people, but dangers for just traps that we'll fall into just as general human beings? Have you seen any stuff like that? That's not just about the youth and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think social media, the idea of social media, it's been social, isn't it? It's the idea of that you get this sense that there's a community to it, or you get this idea that you're socializing with people. But on the face of it, in my opinion, there's not a great deal of that going on, of that one-to-one interaction of you socializing with other people. You get the chance to read what people are doing and see the pictures. There's snow in Hull, so my Facebook feed today has been full of snowmen and dogs walking in snow and snow angels, which are all lovely things to see. But I haven't really interacted with that person. I haven't shared those things with those. It makes me feel as if I have. I only because of lockdown and things, I've barely seen my parents and my family this year. But because I've seen the things that they're putting on social media, it makes me feel as if I have. So it's creating this sort of false illusion that I'm being social with these people when actually I'm not. So that's one thing. Another thing with social media, I find, is that it's something I know in my life, and this is something which troubles me when I think about it, is I'll go on it and I'll find that I've just lost 10, 20, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour of just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, because it's tailored to what I want to see. And it makes me think that I'm involved in these people, but am I?
No, that's a good point. The other thing as well I find as well, so not only the people on social media, the question is, how social am I actually being? And given humans are meant to be social beings, that's an important question. But also, I can be sat in the same room as people and be a million miles away, not just from people on social media, but a million miles of people from the same room. So I get punched in the arm, or I get a death stare from Emma, wife, because I'm 1,000 miles away, interested in something completely irrelevant to what's happening now. So that's I find that an interesting thing as well.
And there is a time for that, isn't there? So, I mean, there is a time to go on and do those things on your own. But you'll have seen it yourself last year, before all of this happened. You'd go into a pub or into a restaurant and everyone sat around that table. They were there to socialize with one another, but they were all there themselves scrolling through Facebook. So they were being social.
Yeah.
But they weren't being social with the people that they'd gone to intend to be social with in the first place.
Yeah, so freaking it's weird what it does to us. What about then, if that because I honestly think that's having a massive impact. I mean, if I'm perfectly honest, I think I'm a little bit addicted to my phone as well, and to social media generally, because I just go and look on stuff and I'm there's no reason, there's no purpose to it. But I reckon I probably speak for a lot of people. I've noticed there's a lot more people now just choosing not to go on social media because they just realize the impact it's having. But obviously you're a member of our church, and so from a Christian perspective, as a Christian yourself, is there anything from a Christian perspective that, like, based on what you've been talking about, that you see as really, really bad for our society and really bad for us generally, that this is causing us this kind of obsession with with not being connected to what's actually happening, but this kind of thing out there that's not even real?
Yeah, I think this idea that, as I've said, we'll go to social media just to get away from things, and you can lose this time. But if we're doing this every day, every hour, how much of life are we actually missing out on? We're constantly going, and we're looking for that absenteeism and for that escapism, which you might think it's okay because it means I don't have to think about what's going on in the world today. But it's not just today that matters, it's tomorrow and the future. And if you're constantly finding yourself absent from what is happening, then you're going to miss out on life's bigger things as well.
Yeah.
It can be great to take a picture of a great moment. Something that makes me laugh is when you go to a firework display and people watch the fireworks through the camera or through the phone. I've learned, and you never actually capture the fireworks anyway. You'll either catch it going up or you'll see it dripping away. You never catch the shot that you want. So what I've learned to do is to try and be present in that, to make sure that I'm thinking about what's happening, I'm enjoying everything that's going on. And I guess that's the way to see social media as well. But if you're looking at everything through a screen, or you're looking at everything through that one purpose, yeah, you can concentrate on that, but you're missing out on so much more.
Yeah. And I guess as Christians, that's the point, isn't it? And for me, this whole COVID situation has been what I would have hoped to have been one big wake-up call, because a lot of the normal distractions of life are taken away, aren't they? A lot of the things that I spend my time are taken away. So this is the one time where everything's stripped back and I can start to ask the question, what is life actually about? But the problem is, if I'm glued onto my phone and if I'm glued onto this false reality, what I'm finding is I'm not thinking about those things as much as I could be. I'm in this other world over here, which is just pulling me away from what I think are some of the biggest questions of life. Why, if there is a God, has this COVID thing been allowed to happen in the first place? Is there a God? The one time in life when we're all facing up to the reality of death and what is beyond, and we're not really engaging with those questions as a society. And I say that not about everyone, like other people. I'm not judging other people. I'm saying that about myself, because I know in me, I'm not really engaging on that level enough, I don't think. And I look at the words of, one of the things that Jesus said as he came into this world, and one of the points where he's teaching people, and he's talking about not worrying about life and not worrying about certain things. And one of the ways he says not to worry is to seek first his kingdom, to seek first him, to seek first the things of him. And honestly, the reality is, if Jesus is real, if he's true, then there's nothing more important than working out who he is and what he came to do. Is there a God? What is beyond? All of these big questions that we're to seek the answers to. And sometimes I just think I'm engaged in this other false reality, this false world, and I'm not thinking about, because of social media, and I'm not thinking about the most important fundamental things to my life. Where can I actually what can I build my life on? So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that even in COVID, we begin to think about some of those things a bit more. I guess we're doing that as a church on Sundays, aren't we? And with the live stream, we've got a Christianity Explored thing coming up on Zoom that people can join, where they can ask some of those big questions and find out a bit more. But we're going to put details up, I think, on our Facebook. Anyway, Dan, thanks for your time. That's just helpful to think through social media part 2. We're going to, in the next few weeks, we've got a few stories coming up. So Dan, if you want to tune into them, stories of how God has changed people's lives connected to Christchurch Orchard Park. And also we're going to be looking at one big question: is Christianity the world's greatest conspiracy? So there you go. That's what's coming up. Anyway, cheers, and thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.